Hello, welcome to my channel again. If you were here from the previous video that I posted, then welcome back. If you're new, my name is Tlotlo Trudy Letlape, and in this video I will be discussing requirements, documents, benefits, costs, and process of coming to teach in Korea. I'm going to get straight into the requirements. All right, so you need to be from any of the 7 countries that I'm going to mention, which is South Africa, USA, UK, New Zealand, Australia, Ireland, or Canada. So in order for you to be considered to be a teacher in South Korea, you need to be from any of the 7 countries that I just mentioned, because they hire nationals from those countries only. You also need to have a degree, a 3 or 4 year degree in any field. And if you have a degree in education, you won't have to do a TEFL course. So if you have a degree in any other field of work except education, then you will have to do a TEFL course. I did mine online. I got a 120-hour TEFL course, and I finished it within a week. So it is advisable, in fact, it's mandatory, not even advisable, to get a 120-hour TEFL course so that you can have that certificate with you, just so that you can have that addition to your degree to show that you did some sort of course to prepare yourself to come and teach and be a teacher. And once you get that, you also need a clean criminal record and be under the age of 62, because 62 is the retirement age in South Korea. So once you meet those requirements, you then have to make the decision of whether you're going to come to South Korea as a public school teacher or as a private school teacher. So the process is a little bit different, though similar, but there are differences here and there. So for the EPIC program, you will go onto their website and fill in the application there. It's an 11-page application whereby you'll have to fill in your personal details, your work experience, your education background. And next is you will have to fill out you will have to upload your police clearance. So prior to you having to fill in this application for the EPIC program, make sure that you have your police clearance with you. So a police clearance can take up to 6 weeks. So it is also advisable to start with it before any other document. So I'll get into the documents later and explain why. And you're going to have to upload it onto the application and then upload 2 recommendation letters from any companies that you have worked for, or you can have a 1 recommendation letter from your university. And then you're going to have to upload 2 other letters from your primary school and your high school that state that you did all your subjects in English, and you did English as a home language, not first or second or third additional language. So, that is another part of the application process on the EPIC website and on the EPIC application. And then the last few pages in the EPIC application is that you have to write 3 essays. I think it's 3 or 2. You have to choose a topic and then you have to write an essay. It's not that long. It's about 250 to 500 words. I think to be honest, I cannot remember the topics that I chose. I just remember that I wrote those essays. And then the last part of the application, you have to prepare a lesson plan. And then you'll be done with your application. So it's quite lengthy. But for the private school, to be a private school teacher, You don't have to do all of that. It's very easy. You do not need the 2 school letters that prove that you did all your subjects in English, but you do need 2 recommendation letters. So now I want to get into the process. All right. I mentioned earlier that you're going to have to get your police clearance first because it's the one document that takes the longest. So getting your police clearance can take up to 6 weeks. You can just go to your local police station. It's around 150 or 160 Rand, and they'll send you an SMS once it's completed, but just know that it will take 6 weeks. And then you're going to have to authenticate your documents.
Okay, so to authenticate your documents, you will need to send your degree to the South African Qualifications Authority so they can verify it. Then send it to DIRCO so they can apostle and notarize it. I forgot to add this information, so yeah, back to the video.
I got a company that authenticates documents so that I do not have to run up and down and look for these places and personally fill in forms. And I'll get into the costs later on. So I do not know where the South African Qualifications Authorities is, what the building looks like. I do not know what DIRCO looks like. I got someone to do that process for me, and thank goodness I did. But I will leave the person's details in the description box. She's someone who I trusted because she had taught abroad. It's just that she taught in China, and when she went back to South Africa, she opened her own company whereby she authenticates documents. So once I saw that she had been doing it for quite some time and people had successfully used her services and left the country, I knew that I could trust her. Now I want to get into recruitment companies. Okay, so there are many different recruitment companies that you can associate yourself with in terms of getting yourself into Korea. I will advise for you to go with a recruitment company instead of an agent. Don't do what I did. Please do your research. If there's anything that I would change about my process of coming to Korea, is doing my research, because I remember the first time I googled all of this, the first link that popped up was the first company that I went with, and that was an agent. So the difference between an agent and a recruitment company is that a recruitment company is paid by the schools in Korea to look for teachers for them. An agent is independent, so the clients pay the agent in order for the agent to look for the schools for the client. So I was the client. I was looking to come teach in South Korea, and I had to pay the agent in order for them to look for a school for me. Now, it is so much easier to go with a recruitment company because it will reduce your costs. It is costly to come to South Korea. Do not make your costs so much more by going with an agent. So I will suggest 5 different recruitment companies. You can go then look at the differences in terms of the whole 5, rather the list that I will provide in the description box, and then you will decide what you feel comfortable with. Now, if you reach out to a recruitment company before you have your documents together, they should be able to provide you with a list of the documents that you will need to provide to them, and then discuss a timeline of when you want to come to Korea. So when you do have your documents with you, your timeline will be shorter. But let me tell you, coming to Korea, it's not something that you can wake up and decide to do just like that overnight. It can take anywhere from 4 to 8 months, depending on how long your documents take. Remember, you are now dealing with government offices, you are dealing with people or other places that you have no control over. Even if you can call their reception, or you call their service provider, or call their service line, they won't be able to give you like a time or when your documents can be ready, so just give yourself time. That's all I'm going to tell you. Give yourself time, anywhere between 4 to 8 months together, everything that you need together. And then once you do that, once you have your documents sent to Korea, you will need to do like a medical test before you leave South Africa. The medical, it's not even like a hectic medical test, because for South Africans, should South Africans be interested to travel to South Korea, they need to take a TB chest x-ray, and they are a list of hospitals that you can go and take that medical test at. It is provided on the Korean embassy website. You can either email them or call them. I personally emailed them and I asked for the list and they sent it to me. It's mostly private hospitals, so just make sure that you locate any private hospital that is stated on the list that the Korean embassy has provided you. Don't just go to any private hospital. Make sure that it's on the list that the embassy has provided you with. So I really suggest that you go onto the website, search for it. If you cannot find it, email them. They'll email you with the list, or call them. They will be able to provide this information for you. And then you will go and get that chest x-ray done. Also, you need to be vaccinated to enter Korea, specifically to come and work, specifically to come and teach. And you need to have gotten a booster shot of your vaccine. And this is a COVID vaccine. You need to have gotten a booster shot of that. So now I'm going to get into the cost of moving to South Korea based on what I paid when I was busy with my application. So as I mentioned, that a police clearance can be anything between 150 or 160. I cannot remember how much I paid, I'm not gonna lie, but I think it's 150. It shouldn't be more than that. And then to apostle and notarize my documents, all in all, I paid 2,795 Rand. And then to send my documents to Korea via DHL. DHL is trusted, so most probably you will also be asked to use DHL because it's quicker, faster, and easy to track in terms of sending documents. I spent 730 to get my documents to South Korea. In terms of getting my TOEFL certificate, I mentioned earlier I spent 400 Rand. And to apply for a visa, an E2 visa to come to Korea, I spent 900 Rand at the Korean embassy. To get a negative PCR test, because before you even get on a flight, you need a 48-hour or 24-hour negative PCR test. I got mine at Lancet Laboratories and I paid 500 Rand. For the TB chest x-ray, I paid 850. Now, for your flight tickets, the price will depend on the airline that you're using, how soon or how later you will book your flight. I booked mine very late because my recruitment company kept on telling me that my school has to approve because we kept on sending each other screenshots of like flight details and like flight prices and trying to find like the perfect flight for me, because the school has to reimburse me my flight ticket, so it had to be within their budget and also it had to be within my budget at the time. So I ended up booking my flight, I think not even a week, 4 days before I was supposed to leave, and it was expensive, very expensive. The only flight that I could find that I knew would be comfortable with for me, I spent 17,300, and it was with Singapore Airlines. So all in all, after the prices that I just mentioned in terms of the process, I spent 23,625 Rand to get to South Korea. I spent more, but I'm not going to mention the fee that I paid for my agent. Trust me, it was an arm and a leg. Like, I don't even want to talk about it. I don't even want to get into it, because I do not recommend that you go with an agent. You will pay. You will pay. But that's it from my side. The next video that I will be doing is giving information on how to teach online, or rather how to get into the online space, because I know that not everybody wants to relocate, or not everybody has the luxury of relocating from South Africa to a different country, but you can still teach online. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Goodbye.